Hey, look at that. We are on air. Hello, everybody, and welcome to GoWCUS. This is a brand new show for us. We're very excited. Um, we're going to be doing this show every Friday leading up to WordCamp US to help expose people to Nashville and what you can expect at WordCamp and all that good stuff. But let's start off by giving everybody a chance to introduce themselves, and we'll start right on the right with Christina.
Okay, I'm Christina Blust. I currently live in Nashville. I'm a designer and developer, and I am on the organizing team doing the design stuff.
Excellent. Dustin.
Sure. So I am Dustin Mesa. I currently work for WP Engine, and I'm the lead organizer for WordCamp US, based here in Nashville.
Woohoo! Laura.
Hi, I'm Laura Byrne Cristiano. I am a recent transplant to the city of Philadelphia. As my name might imply, I was living in New York area before this, and I deal with freelance marketing, SEO, content creation, things along those lines, and I am leading the marketing team for WordCamp US.
Awesome. And I'm Steve Zengit. I'm the founder of Zeek Interactive. I run the OC WordPress meetup. I'm also the lead organizer of WordCamp OC this year and next year. And I am helping out with sponsorships for WordCamp US. So I'm really looking forward to that. Speaking of sponsorships, we have already sold out of the large booths. We have 2 medium-sized booths open. So if you are interested in that, I highly recommend that you jump on that as soon as possible. And then there's other smaller sponsorships available. So if you are interested in sponsoring WordCamp, you can let me know, or there's a couple other people on the committee that you can talk to as well. So,
and much love for the people who currently are on board as our sponsors. WordCamp tickets cost $40 for this. Actual price is much closer to $350 to $375, and without sponsors stepping up and just really helping us, we would not be able to make this affordable for so many people. So huge shout out and much appreciation for the sponsors that really make this happen. And there'll be 2,000 people on site during WordCamp US. We're going to swing by and let them know just how much they do appreciate that.
Excellent. So the hashtag for this show is hashtag GoWCUS. We invite everybody that's watching to get involved. If you have any questions, feel free to tweet those now, or you can tweet them during the week, and we'll try to address them on Fridays. But today's show is about Christina and Dustin, and excuse me, a little bit about Nashville. And so I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Laura, because I know she's got some initial questions about that.
Yeah, so like we said, it's a new city this year. WordCamp US was in Philadelphia the last 2 years, and with our move in venue, I think people have a lot of different questions along so many different lines. So I thought we'd just talk a little bit about what the city of Nashville is like. I know that Dustin and Christina, you are both transplants like me to a new city. I'm a transplant. I'm not from Philadelphia originally, nor are you guys from Nashville originally. And I know when people hear that I'm from New York, you get a little bit of sort of those stereotypical jokes. You know, when people ask where I'm from, they're like, oh, where did you grow up? And I'll say, oh, I was born in the Bronx, and then I grew up on Long Island. And they'll go, oh, Long Island, you know, and then I get all these everybody loves Raymond jokes. And then there's like, oh, can you say coffee or water or talk? And I'm like, do I sound like I say coffee or water or talk? So, you know, anyway, but I'm sure there's lots of things that you guys have, maybe perceptions of Nashville before you got there and what Nashville is like now. So, Dustin, why don't we kick it off with you? What brought you to Nashville, and what was the most interesting, maybe misperception you had about Nashville as a city?
Sure. Yeah. So I moved to Nashville to be closer to my wife's parents. I promised her a long time ago when we met that one day when we were ready to start a family, we would get closer to her family. And they're in Knoxville, which is about 2.5 hours away. And we're both in the technology industry. So as that kind of date kept coming, we were investigating cities in the Southeast area. We looked at Atlanta, we looked at Raleigh-Durham, and we looked at Nashville. And once we looked at Nashville, it was over. There was no contest. Nothing against Atlanta or Raleigh-Durham, but Nashville just spoke to us. We were coming from Austin, Texas, which is a great city, very similar to Nashville, kind of blue in the sea of red. Yeah. And so we were excited about, keeping a lot of what we loved about Austin, which was the people, the culture, the new tech, the new restaurants, the new, scenes. And then I'm a big sports fan, so I was really excited to gain 2 pro sports teams. So we got to Nashville, and honestly, I came here once before we bought our house. And so that's how kind of easy it was and quick it was to pick up that, man, Nashville really is everything that we want it to be. And this is a place where we want to raise our kids. And so super excited, once we got here. And I found out real quick that the misconception about the only music here was country, because it is, right? A music city and, the Grand Ole Opry. And man, the first 5 places I went and heard music, none of it was country. So that was good. I like country, but I want my diversity. And yeah, it was there right away.
Cool. Christina, how about you? What brought you to Nashville, and what's the biggest misconception that you felt coming in that you now maybe laugh off or go, oh my gosh?
Yeah. I came here originally because I was in a long distance relationship and my partner lived here. And I was coming from a small town in Indiana that I'd been in for the last 8 or 9 years. And so of the 2 places, Nashville was more appealing for us both to be located. And he's a musician, I'm a musician. So this town had a lot of appeal just for that itself.
Oh, sure.
And then I was really surprised to learn when I got here that the tech community was as big as it is. That wasn't on my radar necessarily. I own a company, Blustery Day Design, with my sister, so I wasn't looking for a job when I moved. But then when I got involved with the WordPress meetup, and there's a great women's programmer group, there's so many more opportunities here for tech and that kind of development than I was expecting. And I really grew to love that part of the community. And then I think when you think Nashville, you think of the city parts, you hear about Lower Broadway or whatever, but I was really impressed by the park system here. And there's a great zoo and there's a great library system and like all these, less flashy things, but that are really appealing to my interests. So I was really glad to see all that present here.
Cool. I think it's really interesting. There's been a lot of articles lately that I've seen in a couple different places. Forbes was one. The local newspaper in Tennessee, the Tennessean right there based in Nashville, have all been talking about the up and coming tech community and that it has so many jobs right now that they're struggling to fill because it's growing so exponentially that there's call after call for people. If you're a designer, if you're a developer, Nashville seems like it's the place to be right now. I was even noticing they were saying that their co-working spaces downtown have something like doubled within the last 6 months. It's amazing.
Yeah, when I was there for WordCamp Nashville last year, the cabbie told me something interesting. He said there was a stat, something like 75 people moved to Nashville every day. Does that sound accurate?
Oh yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And it's a city that's more diverse than you think. Dustin, I think you were telling me about this at WordCamp Europe, and I had no idea until you mentioned it. But when you're talking about different populations and immigrants moving to Nashville, could you maybe share what you had told me back in Europe?
Yeah. So Nashville is the #1 place for, it just slipped my mind. Do you remember which one?
Kurdish, I think you said.
Yes, it was. My mom, she was touting it. My mother moved here after I did. So yes, Nashville is the #1.
I hope your mom's not watching.
I know, right? She's gonna get me for that. It's the #1 place for. It's the #1 Kurdish population in the country. And it's so interesting. And when my mom moved here, she got involved with Head Start, which is a great program for getting underprivileged kids a head start into learning. And yet, sure enough, a large population of the kids were from Kurdish families. And what's cool is my mom speaks 7 languages, and so she gets to put those to use so much here in Nashville, well more than she did in Austin. And she was very surprised to see that she could use her languages so much more here in Nashville. So it was really cool.
That's amazing. Are we going to get your mom on the polyglots team?
Yeah, we might need to. Yeah.
I'm just saying, we need to get your mom on the polyglots team. That is awesome. So anyway, I have another question in regards to downtown, because I know I thought this was kind of surprising myself. I have friends that live in the Nashville area, and I've been to Nashville a couple of times. I know what shocked me was how amazing the food was. I was like, why is the Food Network not doing like a major series of episodes in Nashville because the food is just insanely amazing. I wonder if you guys could give like a shout out to either your favorite cafe or restaurant, something that's like within fairly easy travel distance of our venue, which is Music City Center, which is right in the downtown area, correct? Am I using that right? If I say
Right
downtown?
in the downtown, yeah, heart smack dab in the middle.
So, I mean, I know a lot of people just kind of like to stay there. They don't want to Uber too much if they don't have to, save a little money. What's something in that area that you're like, oh, if you're in town, you can't miss this?
Christina, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like in terms of right downtown, I know there's a Puckett's right near the library. I hang out at the library a lot. And Puckett's is kind of legendary in Nashville as like a fried chicken, country style, home style cooking place. And there is one right downtown. So that's a good place that they're really historic in the region. They have a little grocery store attached and all that kind of stuff. So that would be a good one. Puckett's.
Dustin, what was the place you sent me? It was a little out of town. It was a little out of downtown, but you sent me for hot chicken.
Yeah,
okay.
I sent you to Hattie B's.
That's the place, yes.
Yeah, which is midtown, very, very good. I mean, so close that, I mean, what?
Line around the building to get in.
Exactly. It's that good. So yeah, you got to try and, you know, the traditional Nashville hot chicken while you're here. Hattie B's, real close. If you're downtown, I'll give you two. So one, if you want to just kind of have a fun time and just do something a little different than maybe other parts of Nashville will give you, there's a place called The Diner. It's 6 stories tall. Every story is a part of this restaurant. The first 2 stories are bar, and then the middle 3rd story is kitchen, so you don't actually go there unless you work there. And then the 4th and 5th story is restaurant seating. And then the 6th story is a rooftop oyster bar. So cool, kind of whatever you want to do. If you just want to grab a drink or you want to have a full meal, it's there, right downtown. So awesome. Love it. And then I know that the WordCamp community loves its barbecue. If you want to have the best barbecue in Nashville, other than my house, you can go to Martin's Barbecue, which is just a few blocks from our venue. I love Martin's. It's really good. It's not as good as the best Texas barbecue that you can get kind of right outside of Austin, but it's a close second.
So are we talking this is Texas style barbecue or is this Memphis like what style barbecue is this?
They actually do it all. So they will do some Texas style. They have a lot of Tennessee style barbecue, which yes, Memphis ribs and pulled pork is a real big staple here in Tennessee. So they do it all.
When I was there, I went to the farmhouse, which was excellent. It came recommended, and we had a great meal there. And I'm here. I haven't been there yet, but on our plan for this trip is Husk.
Oh yeah.
I've heard amazing things about Husk.
I think Sean Brock, it's a Sean Brock restaurant, and he's just, I mean, my next door neighbor across the street, he is a photographer, and he has done a bunch of pieces on Sean Brock, and he just comes back every time. Oh, I got to eat at Husk because I was doing some pictures, and he loves it.
Now, where did we go? What was the? I'm gonna reveal something here. What was the bar we went to where we saw the guy trying to give money to the band?
The magic. Okay, so we were on. So forgive us because we were on Broadway. Which, when you get here and you go, you'll understand. It might have been. No, I'm not gonna remember it. It's the one next to the trailer park one. And yeah, we were in the back, and a guy came and did some pretty good street magic, and we saw the lead singer of the Beach Boys, Brian.
We did see Brian Wilson out back in the alley.
Yes, he was leading the Ryman, and we saw him get into his car, which was so random but so cool.
But I'll tell you, I think we went to 2 or 3 places, and all the music that we saw was fantastic. There was a little bit of country, which is not my cup of tea, but it was more on the rock and roll side, which was great.
Which also, just to mention, since we shouted out a whole bunch of places and people are like, I'm not writing this down fast enough. Don't worry about it. We'll put it in the notes of this video. The video will, if you're watching this live, no worries. It does save on YouTube afterwards. And I will totally put links to every single one of these places in the show description. It may take 24 hours for it to populate, but it will be there so you can check it out and save it. Just wanted to circle back for a minute, Dustin. You mentioned the infamous hot chicken. Maybe Christina and Dustin, you can give us your opinions on this. Explain to people, like, are we talking on a scale of 1 to 10? Is this an 11? Like, what's the story with the hot chicken?
So
the story with the hot chicken, I actually love the story with the hot chicken.
I do too.
It was originally Prince's was the first place in Nashville that had it. and it was a historic African American restaurant. And the woman owner was mad because her husband was cheating on her and made his chicken really hot. And then he liked it. And then that became a menu item. Like it kind of backfired as a plan, but as a business strategy really took off. So the point was to be too hot to eat. So a lot of the places pride themselves on how hot.
They do. I'll tell you a great little story. So the first time I tried it, there's a great place just down the street from my house called Pepper Fire. It's probably my second favorite in the city. And we had looked, me and my wife had looked online, and we put it in a to-go order. And their levels of spice are Southern fried, which is no spice, extra mild, medium hot, extra hot, and extra, extra hot. So you've got like a 7-point scale there, right? So my wife, she didn't grow up in Texas, so she's not used to hot stuff. But living in Texas for about 5 years, she got a little used to it. So she decided to be wild and get mild. I got the medium. And I'm waiting for our food, and all of a sudden this woman walks up to the counter. She's got her sandwich in her hand, and she goes, oh, I ordered mild, but I think you gave me like hot or something. And the worker behind the counter picks up a thing of ranch and goes, no, our mild is just really hot. Here's some ranch. And I was like, oh, is that what we're in for? And I knew my wife was done for.
Oh yeah.
Sure enough.
Oh my gosh, that's like get the red, get the milk, get the anything, like get the base there. Oh my gosh.
Is there some sort of conversion chart that you can get at the restaurant? Or?
Right. I know. And when you go different places, they might have one more or less on their scale, and so you're kind of like, oh, I usually just go medium to just kind of gauge it until I know. But medium is very hot. So I'm telling you, if you're a quote unquote wuss, you should go light mild. And if you like it a little spicier, go mild. And if you're if you're a real brave person, go medium or even hot. But yeah, it gets crazy.
But I think the point is, if you're coming to WordCamp US, you have to go and make a stop and get some hot chicken.
Oh, zero doubt about it.
Yeah. I'll tell you one more place that I wanted to mention. I did get a chance to walk around town when I came out to WordCamp Nashville last year, and I just stumbled upon Third Man Records. Just walking around town, which is Jack White's record company, and just going in and looking around at that place was amazing. And again, I just happened to stumble upon it. Yeah.
What does that have, like old school vinyl collectibles and things like that?
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah, they're attached to a warehouse where they actually make records for a lot of local musicians or people who want specialty things. And sometimes they have shows in there. It's a cool place, but the little store itself is really great too. That's probably where.
I think I've got
Steve
a couple
stumbled
on my shelf. I kept a couple on my shelf back there.
Nice.
So.
Yeah.
But go pick up a sweatshirt.
Cool. Well, listen, we're coming up at our 20-minute mark here, and we know we pretty much about going to go 15, 20 minutes each week, but wanted to tease out a little bit of what we're coming up with next week. We've been talking about our Community Bazaar, which is going to be one of our first ever things we're going to be having at WordCamp US. We're going to have on both Cami Chaos and Raquel Landefeld, who are going to talk about what the layout of the bazaar is going to look like, some ideas for communities on what they might want to feature when they apply. A lot of good ideas and what our vision for that is going to be. So hopefully you guys can join us next week when we talk about that. And then each week we're going to have a different theme, different things you want to know about. Please use that hashtag GoWCUS. Let us know what you want to know about. We will do our very best to cover it. Final thoughts, folks, before we sign off here?
I'm pretty sure that every week we're going to mention something about hot chicken.
Yeah, I would probably bank on that one. Yeah.
As the resident wuss, like I hate hot things, so I just want to affirm that if you don't like hot things, there's also a lot of really good food.
Get the zero. I'm telling you, I got the zero. I was fine.
There's a lot of other things.
That's awesome. I think for people that are planning on coming or maybe thinking about coming to Nashville, you've probably got an image in your head of what it is, and man, it's gonna be totally different. And so we're hoping that we can expose more and more of it to you.
I can definitely vouch for that. That was my experience last year when I came to WordCamp Nashville. So one other thing I wanted to say, and I forgot to mention this at the beginning, is if you haven't bought a ticket to WordCamp US, you should do that, right? As I understand that people are probably making their travel plans, but don't forget to buy a ticket.
Definitely.
which is very true. And hotel block is going fast. So if you're looking to stay at our hotel block, it is filling up, folks. We have already increased it twice. They're not going to, I don't think, let's do it a third time, although we're trying to twist a couple arms there. So get those
And what's that hotel?
reservations. That is the Marriott Renaissance downtown, which is pretty much across the street from where the venue is going to be. Couldn't be more convenient if it tried. The links to it is right on the WordCamp US 2017 site, so you can get at it right there. There's also an 800 number. Last I checked, we might have been sold out on the Thursday night, but we're trying to see if they'll give us a couple extra rooms. So folks should be able to say Thursday, Friday, Saturday, check out Sunday, whatever their scenario is going to be. But yeah, it's a good bargain. So get it while it is still there, folks. It's not going to last.
All right. We will see you next Friday.
Sounds good. See y'all next Friday.
Yeah,
all right.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.